Conor McGregor is at the White House today for a meeting with Donald Trump.
Happy Paddy's Day, America!
Tom Aspinall is surprised by the number of people who believe Alex Pereira defeated Magomed Ankalaev. Tom gives Alex credit for defending all 12 of Ankalaev's takedowns. However, he doesn't think Ankalaev was really trying to get Alex down for most of them. Tom said, "I can't believe people watched that fight and thought Pereira won. It's just wild to me how many uneducated fans are out there, and how many uneducated fans thought it was a boring fight as well. I thought it was an amazing fight. Both guys did good, but I think Ankalaev was just a lot better than him on the night. That's it. I think Ankalaev just had him guessing a lot. I think Pereira's level on the ground. I don't know what level he's at, but I think he's still a bit wary of getting taken down. He definitely defended the takedowns well, but me with an educated eye watching it, I don't think Ankalaev was really trying to take him down that much. He definitely tried a couple of times. I think he did 10 or 11 takedown attempts, but I'd say only 2 or 3 of them he went full blast. I think the rest of the time, he was trying to tire him out with the grappling standing, like the cage grappling stuff. I think Ankalaev had the perfect game plan. He didn't overcommit, tired him out. He can do whatever he wants. He's an absolute megastar. I think there's fights to be made at middleweight, light heavy, or heavy. He can do whatever he wants. I just want to fight for an undisputed title. I'm not bothered who it's against." Although the fight is not yet official, Dana White has hinted that Merab will be defending his bantamweight title in a rematch against Sean O'Malley next. Cory Sandhagen gave his thoughts on the fight and believes the only reason the UFC is granting O'Malley a rematch is because he has a lot of followers. He sees the fight playing out similar to their first fight, which Merab won via unanimous decision. However, he explains that O'Malley actually has an advantage going into the rematch. Sandhagen is currently scheduled to fight Deiveson Figueiredo on May 3rd and believes if he puts on a good performance, he will be fighting for the belt next. In an interview with MMA Junkie, Sandhagen said, "I'm not surprised. We all know why. O'Malley has a really big following. That's the reason. Umar Nurmagomedov and Merab's fight was much closer than O'Malley and Merab's fight. If you were going to give a rematch to anyone, you would probably give it to the guy that was closer, if it was just pen and paper of what makes sense. But there's a lot of things that go into the sport, and being more famous than other people is one of them. Sean O'Malley has that leverage over everybody, and good on him. He worked really hard in order to gain that, so I'm not going to hate on him for it, but that's definitely why. It's so funny because that's literally the only thing O'Malley scored the entire fight that was significant, and it was way at the end. I just think it's funny because a lot of people are talking about the one body kick. It's like, dude, you lost the entire rest of the fight. You can make an argument, but the vibe of that fight to me was that O'Malley was losing, and he was the one not in control of that fight. But I could definitely see a situation where O'Malley comes back, and he does really well. I love underdog stories, and I assume O'Malley will probably be the underdog. I love rooting for an underdog, so maybe O'Malley will do well, but it's hard for me to imagine the fight going too different from the first one. But also at the same time, the guy who has the puncher's chance, obviously their ability to knock the person out goes up if you give them another 25 minutes to try to figure out how to do so. It's definitely an advantage for O'Malley going into this fight. Merab's a fine champion. I don't really think too much about what Merab is as a champion from a fan standpoint, but I think Merab is super skilled. He's on like a 13-fight win streak. You don't just oops your way into winning 13 fights. You have to be very good in order to do that. Merab's obviously one of the best guys in the sport right now, and I think if me and him fight, it would be a really interesting fight. I think I could win that fight for sure. I think that I could be able to control the space similar to the way O'Malley was, but I'm just a way better wrestler than O'Malley is, offensively and defensively. I hit harder now. I'm very athletic. I didn't get to show a lot of the new things I've been working on in the last one because Umar was wrestling the shit out of me so much, but I think I do awesome against Merab. We've kind of seen him fight everyone else. I go out and I beat Figgy really well. I don't really see a situation where you can't at least understand the argument that I should be fighting for the belt next. Aljamain Sterling shared his thoughts on how Paddy Pimblett would fare in a fight against Dustin Poirier. While Paddy is currently set to face Michael Chandler at UFC 314, he had previously called out Dustin Poirier before the matchup was booked. Sterling believes Paddy holds the advantage in grappling, but ultimately picks Dustin to win the fight.
I know what he's trying to do. He's the superior grappler. I think everyone would agree with that. I think Dustin would probably even agree with that. But Dustin's a fighter. So if you're looking at matchups and trying to get yourself to the top, you're trying to position yourself with the best opponent that's going to get you closest to the belt, and probably still going to be high risk, but which one is the lowest risk in terms of the stylistic approach? And if Paddy could get Dustin down, or get to his back, I think it's a bad situation to be in. But on the feet, Dustin all day long. Dustin hitting him with the hillbilly shell, you know? So I think it's a very dangerous matchup either way. But if Paddy's able to, if he could deal with some damage, some punishment, it makes it interesting. But overall, because I like Dustin so much, I'm picking the guys I ride with. I'm still picking Dustin to win that fight. I still think some way, somehow he gets it done. But I know what Paddy's doing. He's giving him a compliment, but at the same time telling him, I want everything you've got, everything you've worked for, I'm here to take it. That's what he's trying to do. Yeah, Paddy's an enigma to me. He's one of the most interesting guys to study, how you could become a complete fat and then get into this chiseled statue of stone and go out there and have performances the way he does and then go back to being a complete fat I'm like, dude, I don't understand it. I've gotten fat, but there's like levels to getting fat and out of shape and then coming back and getting into shape.
Diego Lopes versus Alexander Volkanovski is set to take place at UFC 314 next month for the vacant featherweight title. Lopes recently responded to critics who favor Volkanovski, citing concerns about his cardio. Following his unanimous decision victory over Dan Ige last summer, many believe Lopes was gassed towards the end of the fight. Lopes went on to say, I think Volkanovski might go in there and look to do a mix of his game, because a lot of people are still complaining that I might not have cardio for 5 rounds. People are still hanging on to what happened in the fight against Dan Ige, that I slowed down. But that's okay. People have mouths, and they'll say whatever they want. I'm ready for Volkanovski's best version, and I'm ready to show my best version. That's okay. I'm not bothered by them at all. People have mouths, and they will say whatever they want, and they don't want to see things in the way that they are. Why does nobody mention the knockdowns that I did to Brian Ortega in the 3rd round, and how I was doing in the 3rd round? I won all 3 rounds and I dominated that fight. Why do people don't mention that? Why don't they mention that a judge gave me a 30-26? I don't get it. People forget things. People have short memories. They only want to remember what they want to remember, and that's fine. I get it. A lot of those people are fans of those fighters. I'm fighting, so they will go ahead and say that I lack cardio to fight them. Robert Whittaker believes Justin Gaethje appeared a bit off in his recent unanimous decision victory over Rafael Fiziev. Despite the win, Whittaker feels Gaethje looked better in their first encounter back in 2023, where Gaethje secured a majority decision victory. Whittaker speculates that Gaethje's knockout loss to Max Holloway could have had an impact on his performance.
I just thought there was something off. I thought he might have been half a clip behind or something, because and don't get me wrong, like I'm a big Gaethje fan, Gaethje fan, and Fiziev's a hard fight for anyone, especially if you're just going to take it to him in the hands.
Yeah.
But Fiziev took this fight on 12 days notice, and like looked so good in the start of the fight. And I feel like comparatively to their first to second fight, I felt like Gaethje had a little bit more in him. I don't know if you saw that as well. It's like I don't know. Or like it was a standard Gaethje performance, like, but I just felt like it wasn't the same Gaethje we saw pre-Holloway. Does it make sense?
TJ Dillashaw and Rampage Jackson recently discussed the aftermath of winning a UFC world title. In a conversation with Caio Bahayo, TJ explained that winning the belt brings a significant increase in attention, both personally and professionally. Rampage, however, cautioned Caio to be careful about who he keeps in his inner circle. Reflecting on his own championship run, Rampage revealed that he had many people around him who didn't necessarily have his best interest in mind.
He's going to stay focused. He's going to keep his eye on the prize of what he wants. But you're just going to get a lot more attention, right? Especially like as the sport continues to grow, you're going to be a lot busier. You're going to get pulled in so many different directions, you know, like commercials, promotions, like building your fights, like, and then with that comes pressure and anxiety and everything. Yes. But you're smart enough. I can already tell that you're going to be just fine when that happens, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, 100%. I don't know about your circle of friends and stuff. My biggest lesson is like be careful who you let in your circle when you get the champion. Yeah, that's what I learned. It sounds like you got everything figured out. You got like a good community and team around you. I had like sharks, managers, and you know what I'm saying, sharks, friends and stuff like that. That's one thing that I wish somebody would have told me. But
Sean Strickland attempts to run down a steep hill covered in snow and ends up hurting his knee. He posted the footage to his Instagram story and wrote, "I swear I hit every rock and branch on the way down. Knee was bleeding after this one."
Ever. 1, 2, 3, go.
Paddy Pimblett versus Michael Chandler is set to take place at UFC 314 next month. Paddy recently shared his thoughts on Chandler's history of fouls inside the octagon. Dustin Poirier previously accused Chandler of glove grabbing and fish hooking. In return, Dustin bit Chandler's finger. Justin Gaethje suggested that Chandler should start having points deducted for repeated eye pokes. Charles Oliveira also voiced frustration over illegal strikes to the back of the head during their fight. Paddy believes Chandler is fully aware of his actions. He went on to say, "If you're not cheating, you're not trying. Like, that's on the ref. He's just throwing hammer fists at the back of Charles Oliveira's head. Charles either needs to move his head or the ref needs to say something to him." I did watch that fight the other day though. He does hammer fist him 12 times in the back of the head, just like that. And he knows what he's doing. If I was in that position, I'm Charles. I'm saying, "Ref, what are you doing here?" That was some bad refereeing right there. But obviously I've seen the Poirier video as well. Poirier saying Chandler tried to fish hook him to get the choke and stuff like that. I'll do the same thing as Poirier if that happens. I'll bite his finger. Try and cut it off with me teeth. It's one of them. But yeah, I always say, if you're not cheating, you're not trying.
And that's going to wrap it up for the news. Thanks for watching. For daily MMA news and content, subscribe to Full Mount MMA and click the bell icon to be notified when we post videos.
Here are the 3 top comments from last video. These comments are in reference to Magomed Ankalaev's coach accusing Alex Pereira of being greased during their fight. The first one's from Beast1 Cocoa Puffs. It says he wasn't greased, he just couldn't take him down. The second one's from Dubo Rex. It says, "Oh, Shab has an opinion? Skip." And the final one's from BA2037. It says, "Someone tell Ank and his coach that lying is haram, especially during this holy month. Grease would make holding on to Alex tough," which Ank had no problem with.
Those were the 3 top comments from last video. If you want to be featured in the next one, all you have to do is comment down below. And if you missed yesterday's news, click the video on screen right now to get caught up.